Good morning. Today is Wednesday, August 30th, and this is Devotions from St. Paul Evangelical Lutheran Church in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. I'm going to take a passage today from Matthew's Gospel, and this is getting near the end of Jesus' ministry on earth during Holy Week, when they're preparing for the Passover. And a very special event happened for Jesus, and that's what I'm going to read about. So this is from the 26th chapter of Matthew's Gospel. Now while Jesus was at Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, a woman came to him with an alabaster jar of very costly ointment, and she poured it on his head as he sat at the table. But when the disciples saw it, they were angry and said, "Why this waste? For this ointment could have been sold for a large sum and the money given to the poor." But Jesus, aware of this, said to them, "Why do you trouble this woman? She has performed a good service for me. For you will always have the poor with you, but you will not always have me. By pouring this ointment on my body, she has prepared me for burial. Truly I tell you, wherever the good news is proclaimed in the whole world, what she has done will be told in remembrance of her." Let me put this passage in perspective just a little bit. While Jesus and the disciples had been sitting there at this meal, he had told them that in 2 days was the Passover, and that he would be handed over and crucified. And so they knew that this was coming very soon. Immediately after this passage, it says, "And Judas got it in his mind to betray Jesus." I think the first part is much more significant than the last because of Jesus' words to the woman. Just a comment on the woman first. There's no name given. There's no reference given to any other actions that she's ever taken. There's no reference given to why she did this, though Jesus said it was a good service for him. And so there's a lot of questions here. The disciples took it badly. They wanted to help the poor. And helping the poor is a good thing. It's just not the only thing. And in this case, the actions that the woman took were helping Jesus for his burial, for his death, which he had just announced to them. I think about this way. You don't have to be well known. You don't have to be well recognized. You don't even have to have your name mentioned to do good works for Jesus. This woman did a good service to Jesus, and we don't know who she is. We don't know where she came from. I also think that the disciples' reaction is the same as some of the reactions that we have to some of the things that we see go on, because we each have our own agenda on what is a good thing and what is not a good thing. And I think for us, the key is service to Jesus is always a good thing. What you consider to be service and what I consider to be service do not have to be the same thing. And we don't have to act in the same ways. But that service is still a service to Jesus. It's part of that relationship. Now, Jesus said at the end of his little speech that what this woman did will be remembered in all the world for what she did for him. And I think that's important in Jesus' perspective, because certainly he recognized what she did, and he recognized her for her service. But I'm not sure that all the rest of us think of this woman every time we think of the crucifixion story. I know I don't. And what that says to me is the important part is Jesus knows what we do in his service. No one else has to know. No one else has to remember. No one else has to even think about it. No one else has to even think that it's a good service. But Jesus knows our hearts, and he knows when we're doing something that we think is a good service, and he will remember us for it, just as he remembered this woman, just as he honored this woman with his words. Think about what we can do for Jesus. Think about what service we can do for him. And it may well be service to the poor, as the disciples cited for this woman and her ointment. But also remember, whatever you do in Jesus' name, he will remember. He will remember and honor your service. And to me, that's the key. Yes, sometimes I like other people to see what I'm doing. And sometimes that's the kind of encouragement I need to keep going. But every time it's important, Jesus sees and remembers and honors our service. I hope you think about this. I hope you think about what you can do in service to Jesus, and truly remember, whatever that service is, Jesus will remember you and honor that service. Thank you.